And if a man is willing to change his life and do better with his behavior, and he's willing to help people, then paperwork shouldn't be an ultimatum. Well, you have to drop out in order for us to give you a date. It doesn't make any sense, because if you tell this guy he has to drop out in order for him to receive a date, now you're making a Benedict Arnold. He can't even be trusted. He's going to go and lie on his Conrads and make up a bunch of shit just so he can save his own ass. And the things that he's saying aren't even true, but yet you're willing to believe him. You're willing to believe him because you not only made him drop out, you throw him up under the bus. He don't have no place to live. He has to return to that community, and now he's got a target on his back. So if I'm going to be effective out here, I can't be effective if the Board of Prison Terms, if you choosing to only let out people who have dropped out. And I can't use those people.
And for those of you who were under the assumption that the CCOs were no longer active, you might want to pay attention to the ensuing video.
We talked earlier, you said when you came to prison, you were president of the Hoover. What did you actually evolve into? Did you join another organization?
Yes.
And what would that be?
The NCO, Blue No Crib organization.
What would you say to someone in law enforcement that would believe that the Blue No Cribs don't exist? What would you say to that?
To be is, in most cases, when you see anything structured, especially against the administration, or wars that's structured, more than likely Blue Nose are behind it because they have that level of intellect to push something like that.
So, but the Blue No Cribs do exist?
It does exist.
And you held up. What was your highest rank in the Blue No Cribs?
Captain.
So, let's take it. So, as a Hoover, you were recruited to the BNCO and you became a soldier?
Yes.
And what was your next rank after that?
Sergeant.
And what were your responsibilities as a sergeant?
To train people in weaponry, to train people in war tactics, and to train people in overall information as far as the basis of what they need to know to survive and the things they need to be aware of.
So you were training?
Yes.
As a lieutenant, did you promote to lieutenant, I guess?
Yes.
What was your duties then?
To be an enforcer and a recruiter. Those who I seen, I felt, had exactly who's who. I'm talking about other ethnicities.
What would you say? There's Blue Nose in every main line? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You think there's Blue Nose in every main line?
What about on the streets?
Yes.
They function on the streets as well?
But mostly they function on the streets, Raymond Cribs. Because those are the ones that actually started BNCOs, even with Stretch, and then they took the idea that took even one of the main figures in prison is Blue Nose.
Mm-hmm. What about identifiers? Do you use a tattoo? Do you use a symbol?
I have a tattoo of BNCO on me.
So this is, you went through a lot of training. You can tell me, what was some of the books that you've read when you've been in prison that helped you?
I read war books mostly.
And
I'm real fascinated with wars.
But BNCO, is this kind of something what you did to teach?
Well, not necessarily. It's just kind of like, yeah, they have you teach like war tactics so you can understand different diversities of war and different things of this nature. So I read like Art of War. I read Dialectical Materialism, Unseen Hand, Jubilee by Nat Turner. I read books on World War I, World War II, World War, Korean War, Revolutionary War.
You also read books by George Jackson.
Yes, Blood in My Eyes, Solidarity Brothers.
And why did you read those books?
Well, I read them because they was not only available, but because of I was advised that it would just be wise to, when I first got to prison, just to check this guy out to see what he's really about.
Let me ask you this, Colonel. What is the goal of the BNCO? If they're out there and they're functioning, they have the strength, they have the structure, and they have these 20 principles in their life, what is their goal?
Well, our ultimate goal was supposed to be is to elevate to the corporate type levels.
So what's the goal inside a prison? What do you think the BNCO wants to do?
Well, that's the original goal. I mean, when it was brought to my attention, the original goal was for us to go beyond a street level.
Saying that if there's a BNCO member on a main line, his job is to instill a belief system, an ideology, in a way that Crips are supposed to function on that main line.
Exactly.
And that's why
whether he do it indirectly or directly.
He's going to do it.
He's going to do
So as you, who are the enemies of the BNCO? Let me ask you that.
Our number one enemy is administration.
Which would mean
Anything
law
that trickles
enforcement?
down, yes. Anything that trickles down, I mean, from the White House all the way to CO. Anytime that someone has the power to oppress you, or to take your freedom, or to put you on death row, or to sentence you to life, or to abuse you, like you see Rodney King type incidents and everything, or abuse of authority, that's who your enemy is, because they have the power. They use their governments, their systems, their institutes to quell you or to hinder you. Therefore, that's your enemy. And the only way sometimes you can fight back is by letting your presence be known. As a man, I'm not going to tolerate that. Even if you have to die in the process of letting them be known, hey, I'm a man.
So when you talk about assaults of staff, so is it uncommon for the BNCO to authorize or actually even promote staff assaults?
Yes, a killer mentality, they tell you that. There's nothing wrong with killing, but kill necessarily instead of foolishness. So it's like we was taught, we still need those to kill when necessary, but we're not going to start killing just because of a rag or because of a block, because of anything like that. We're going to start killing because of what's being done to us that we feel is unjust. So if someone is trying to quell you because you're trying to move forward, they're wrong. So just like, for instance, you see a lot of organizations in prison that's trying to build. The administration or IGI or whatever are trying to quell that because they feel maybe what we're doing, you're going to pay the consequences for that. Because we feel that's unjust. Now, if we're doing anything towards you, then we can understand you doing what you're doing toward us. But if you look at the institution, you have to set a precedent so people can see how things are supposed to go. And then it's up to them to learn from that and to try to follow that pattern.
Okay, so
You're setting an example.
setting an example.
That's why I said I would use like a form of exemplification or setting an example or precedent.
Setting an example of unity.
Yes.
So other kids will follow along. You guys think, so it's...
But they have to be able to see that.
See, so you guys organize and unify and come together. Now, would you say that, how many BNCO members would you think there are in existence?
Right now,
Yeah.
I would probably say at least 500.
Think that many?
I don't think so.
And with that many, is it the goal of the BNCO then to kind of bring Crips under their control and just kind of keep everyone together? Even if they don't want to become a BNCO member, still, so there's a whole friction amongst Crips, because you said that Crips go in the street, but when they come to the joint, the kind of goal is to stop that and let's all just be Crips.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the BNCO will be the higher entity.
Yes.
The hierarchy will be above just regular Crips.
That's basically the goal, but we've been still trying to do that for over 20 years, but it's difficult because of
What
so
do you
many
think
different dynamics that
So percentage, are you 35% there out of 100? Are you 85%?
right now, in this day and age, we're probably about 25%. Not necessarily in numbers, but strength in unification. So you don't have to be strong in numbers as long as you're strong in unification, because unification is bigger than what it appears to be. Unification also deals with just having an understanding. Just so like, for instance, like the BGFs and so forth. Outside of wars and stuff going on, they doing what they do. We doing what we do. But a lot of times wars are brought about or come into existence. We understand the importance of being unified at that time. You see my point?
So you think there's nice communication now between the BNCO and the BGF, would you say?
But between certain individuals. See, I always try to keep that with them, and other individuals have, but see, that's what I was saying.
But you said you've seen a lot of training from BGF members.
Yes. So see, most people are youngsters. Most of them is young. You have some.
But the other older guys, would you say, would think that's a good thing to have as a line of communication with the BGF? Not so much every soldier. Not every BNCO is going to have that, but the upper echelon guys will?
Yes.
Okay. So that you guys can work together and then that, if anything needs to be trickled down, it will trickle down from the higher ranking guys down and then that.
Because I've always tried to keep it with the BGS. Always did.
And one of the things we discussed earlier was you said on recruitment for the BNCO is a lot of times they look at who is the most respected person from a specific set, and they'll try and target him for recruitment simply based on the fact that they know that this individual's put in work and he's respected in his clique.
That shows that he's sincere.
He would be good for our organization.
So that shows he's sincere about what he's representing. So if he's sincere with that, and if he see a need for this, he'll be sincere with this as well.
So homies, if he becomes a BNCO, so let's say it's 8 trays, for example.
Okay.
So you're on the main line and there's an 8 tray, and you think he has the mentality to be the BNCO,
Okay.
he's respected by his own people.
Okay.
Would you recruit him?
Yes.
What is the benefit of recruiting that guy?
The benefit of recruiting is because he can contribute in various ways, because he can use that same influence. He can use his same ability, I guess you say natural abilities to draw people toward him. Some people just have that aura about themselves, and people that can be useful to us. Whether it's they might be good at bringing people in, or whether they may be good at organizing, or whatever traits that we can see in them.
So if you brought that one guy this one 8 tray in, would he then be able to control his homies that are there?
Yeah, see, that's what we like. We like that.
Why do you like that?
Because what it does is it alleviates the wildness, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? Because he still is going to carry that weight amongst his homies. He's still going to carry that weight. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So therefore, if he's a BNCO, we're all instructed to control our homies from our neighborhood, whether they are BCOs or not. That's why in most cases, if you see a reputable BNCO in a yard, you're going to see his homies going to be tight. You know what I'm saying? Militant, Crips, soldiers, whatever. You know what I mean? Because he's going to make sure of that, because it's a reflection of him. So you got to remember, as being a reputable or a certain figure type member from your clique or your hood, your homies is a reflection of you. So if your homies running around appearing to be weak, or running around acting all ignorant, then that says like, damn, what did that say about the big homie? You know what I mean? He ain't controlling them, he don't have no influence over them. See, that goes back to the original question. The reason why they see that is because they see that you already have that. They see that you already have that amongst your homies. And so they say, okay, he has the ability for youngsters to cling to him. We can use that, because the same influence that he have in that regard can be used in this regard. They might rechannel it a little bit, but it can still be useful.
So you get the one guy, but pretty much you get the soldiers that fall underneath him without having to deal with them.
Yeah.
He deals with that particular group, but he's a part of the overall organization.
Exactly.
If Stanley Williams were totally rehabilitated, he would not only admit to the murders, he would also agree to be debriefed by prison officials, giving them information about the Crips and the way they operate, something Williams has so far refused to do. So you think that today, by sitting down and talking to prison authorities, he could help diffuse the situation on the streets?
By him being himself involved in debriefing, it opens the door for others that are in the Crip gang to come forward, and they will tell their stories. But when they see their original godfather, who stands tall in the face of, as they say, in the face of death, and he refuses to tell anything, then that makes that young 16-year-old that's out there with that weapon feel just as committed.
But what information could he have that would be of any value to law enforcement authorities who are investigating present-day gang activity when he's been locked up for over 20 years?
There's a great deal of contact that go on between the outside community and the inmates within these walls. He can explain to us how they gain their money, how they set up their trafficking. He can explain on how they have set up for the collection of weapons